y'all doing, folks? Welcome to this week's edition of the Outdoors Bound podcast. I'm George Noliff. Fishing has really picked up, especially at Smith Mountain Lake. Dwayne Lamb at Indian Point Marina Bait and Tackle always has good info.
A lot of the bass is still on beds. Some's done. Still got a little wave of them to go. So the bass is up shallow, back off the main channel in the pockets. Stripers, the shad spawn started here about 7 to 10 days ago. So everything's shallow. Stripers are up on the banks at night. We caught 17 last night. And the shad spawn takes off about 10 or 10:30. And it's really good fishing to about 1 a.m. in the morning. And both bass and stripers are on the banks at night.
What about crappies? Those going good?
Yep, they're ready to spawn out. They're in shallow 5 foot of water, 5-6 foot of water. Guys been coming in using the boat ramp and fishing right here in Indian Creek. It's a big popular place for them, and they're reporting that they're 5 foot deep around docks and brush.
Dwayne used to be over at Captain's Quarters for years. Now he's moved his operation to Indian Point, and he's expanding.
It's in Indian Creek at channel marker R37 channel marker, and just a 4-mile move from the bridge. So yeah, it's been great.
Now, you're offering the same services. In fact, you're expanding services.
Yes, we brought our boat rentals, our tackle shop up here. We got the boat ramp. We got 24-hour gas sales here with the pay at the pump. And we opened up a fishing cabin for rentals, short-term rentals, and the food trailer will be ready in a day or two. So 2 new aspects of the business.
More fishing. We're getting good reports of smallmouth and spotted bass being taken from the Stanton River from Alta Vista all the way to Brookneal. The occasional walleye is also being caught. Claytor Lake's turning up good catches of stripers and hybrids. Also hearing reports that walleye catches remain strong from the upper end of the lake all the way up to Foster Falls. Now starting to hear about crappie heating up too, all over the place. SML, Holiday Lake, Carvin's Cove, Bugs Island, Claytor, and Moomaw all hold good populations of crappie. Channel cats also starting to turn on. Cut, crawlers, or livers are going to take fish. SML, Bugs Island, Claytor are your best bets. Now, speaking of catfish, concerned blue cat anglers have started a change.org petition to urge the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources and Virginia lawmakers to impose tighter regulations to preserve Virginia's trophy blue cat fishery. They're concerned over what they say is a decrease in the number of trophy blues. The state's trying to manage the trophy fishery and also trying to keep the overall blue cat biomass under control. I had the chance to fish the James with 2 of the top blue cat anglers in Virginia to experience the trophy fishery. There's something big beneath the waves of the tidal James River, giant in fact, and tracking them are modern-day giant hunters, Adam Cook and Leonard Trout. Adam's one of the top guides on the James. Leonard's a veteran catfish tournament angler and owner of Honey Hole Bait and Tackle.
And my God, they fun to catch, for sure.
We'll have to see what happens. It's a waiting game now.
But that wait wasn't long.
Yeah, it's a nice fish right here, guys. Great fish. This fish is probably going to be a little bit over 30. This is what we call a citation blue cat. Beautiful. Oh yeah, I think you got yourself a nice 40 this morning. Get the day started.
30, 40, how about closer to 50 pounds? And that's an average size fish for this section of the James. Welcome to the best blue catfish fishery in the world.
They were originally stocked in the 70s from the Mississippi River, but with the amount of forage, the water quality that we have here, they just exploded. Now, I mean, it's a total world-class fishery. I mean, there isn't a place in the country that has the quality and the quantity that we have in this river right here.
And as the blue cat numbers climbed, so did the trophy sport fishery that targeted these giants. Big fish can go in excess of 120 pounds, and they aren't always easy to catch.
Yeah, they're pretty elusive. They're hard to catch.
These big trophy fish, they didn't get big overnight, and they're smart. They have a very selective diet.
So what's on the menu for blue cats? Mostly fresh-cut gizzard shad.
You find the food, you're going to find the fish. They're not going to be far behind.
And the presentation has to be just right for this to happen.
If you want to catch big blue catfish, this is the best place in the country to do it.
Now, some of the new regs being proposed in that change.org petition include harvest limits on trophy blues, as well as size restrictions for both commercial and recreational harvest. 2 years back, I had the privilege of being the only Virginia angler to compete in the Cabela's Bass Pro National Team Walleye Championship. That one was held up on Lake Oahe in South Dakota. This year's event's going to be held later this week on Lake Erie, fishing out of Lorain, Ohio. Now, Lake Erie is arguably the best walleye fishery on the planet. I was lucky enough to fish it with one of the best walleye anglers who ever lived, the late, great Mike Hansen. While Mike loved Lake Erie, he had a real interest in one particular Virginia walleye fishery, too. Here's the story I did with him back then.
Lake Erie is one of the most unbelievable fisheries out here in the United States.
You heard him right. He said Lake Erie.
Fish on!
So the question you might be asking is, what's a news crew from Virginia doing up on the Great Lakes? Well, when one of the top walleye tournament anglers in the country invites you to come fish the top walleye water in the world, you go.
Woo! Woo!
That guy is Mike Hansen. He fishes the Professional Walleye Series head-to-head circuit. While he primarily fishes the Great Lakes in the Midwest, he wants to see more pro walleye tournaments fished in the South to grow the sport. One of the places he's interested in is the New River, with its trophy walleye reputation. Mike wanted to pick my brain about walleye in the Commonwealth, so he invited me up to Ohio to get a taste of the best walleye fishing in the world.
So I'm going to go ahead and guide this right in like this, and I'm going to pick that fish up and bring him right in the boat. Bringing that fish up right inside the boat. I'm going to grab him just like that, and there we go. Lake Erie walleye, ladies and gentlemen, at its finest.
Now he's fighting. The action that day was fast, and it ought to be. There are, by some counts, roughly 100 million walleyes swimming around in Lake Erie. The anglers there target them by trolling most of the time. That's because there's so much water to cover. But it never took very long to get buttoned up.
Still a nice fish.
All right. Oh, yeah. George, putting a hammer to him. He's coming. You're up. There you go. Nice fish. Very nice. What do you think of that?
I like that.
Lake Erie at its finest.
All day long.
Mike, his guide friend Nick Andrietti, and I took turns reeling in fish after fish. I mean, it never stopped. But even with that kind of fast action, Mike still wanted to talk about eventually fishing the New River. He's done his homework, and he knows about the New's big fish reputation.
It has the potential new world record walleye. We've been doing some research and getting a lot of different feedback on how this fishery down there is absolutely exploding.
So look for the New to get some attention from the pros at some point in the near future because of the size of the fish it puts out. But in the meantime, if you're looking for numbers, you might want to consider that 6-hour drive up I-77 to Lake Erie and what's considered to be the best walleye fishing on the planet.
Good keeper, walleye. Good job. If I was to ever choose a body of water for the best walleye fishing capital of the world, Lake Erie would be my choice.
I sure do miss Mike. He was one of the best people I ever knew. I'm going to be up on Lake Erie a few days this week pre-fishing with some of the folks competing in this year's NTC. Good news from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. The conservation group says there's less pollution flowing into the Chesapeake Bay. Public and private efforts to curb that flow appear to be working, though the foundation says more needs to be done to meet 2025 goals. The decrease is good news for all of us, as well as for all the fish and aquatic creatures that call the Bay home. Spring turkey seasons are underway in Virginia and West Virginia. The West Virginia DNR is launching a 4-year-long study on the status of turkeys in the Mountain State. The last one was done 3 decades ago. Wildlife managers say working with 30-year-old data is not the best. You can understand that. So they want updated info. About 200 turkeys are going to be fitted with GPS transmitters so they can be tracked. That is the sound of a quiet path in some woods near Goodview, Virginia. And it's this week's 30 Seconds of Solitude. All right, folks, I'm going to stroll on down this path. I'll let you know how the fishing went up on Lake Erie. That'll be next week. Until then, I'm George Nolliff, WFXR News, Outdoors Bound. Tight lines and good hunting, y'all.
You build the mountains in your dreams. You lead the world so you can breathe. Whoa. You walk on fields inside your mind. You cross the oceans and the skies. Whoa. It's like you found a better way. Don't fight them all. What they say, just turn around.